Welcome inside this special edition of the Fast Lane. Trey Lyle here with you. I'm back after taking a week off. Little issues last week getting some interviews together, but don't worry, I am back. We got one preview for you this week. Miami UVA, obviously Thursday night game, so quick turnaround for that. But and Virginia Tech being on a bye, but we are going to preview the Liberty Flames taking on a really good University of Alabama Birmingham, aka UAB Blazers team. And to join me all the way in Alabama, Evan Dudley, AL.com. He's on the beat for the Blazers. Evan, how are you doing? And let's get right into it. This is a unique, starting with the Liberty side, as you're doing your research, this is a team coming off a loss that was a game which they could have won against Syracuse, obviously similar to UAB. They lost to the only loss this year to a Power 5 team, but these are programs that in which kind of have come on the scene so quickly on the FBS level. You know, Liberty coming up from SES, and then obviously the reinstatement of UAB. How do you feel about what do you see from Liberty as they're heading down to this game in Birmingham on Saturday?
It's really a game of strength versus strength. Liberty, obviously they got Hugh Freeze, so a very high-powered offense. You got Malik Willis there, possible first-round pick. Might be a top-5 quarterback taken. Just an incredible athlete, or just an athlete. He's a great quarterback. He manages that offense incredibly well, and he can make plays on top of that. UAB is led defensively. That's their calling card. At times they've ran like 3-4 or, a 2-4, they've ran a lot of multiple sets this year. That's really more of a 4-2 this year with their outside linebackers, just, hands in the dirt the whole time. So it's really a mix of their defense. And so they're going to try to, bring pressure at you. They're going to try to confuse you, bring a lot of looks. So it's going to be a strength versus strength matchup. And that's what's going to be most interesting. It can either be high scoring affair or low scoring, just to, depending on which side really takes the control of the game.
And obviously, this is very unique for UAB. They have not had a home game yet. There are 4 games into the season, and they have not had a home game yet. Obviously, this is a new stadium for them coming off of the reinstatement of the program. What is the kind of fan sentiment heading into this game that's probably going to be, kind of highly motivated for this team facing a relatively big opponent that's had a lot of recent success?
Absolutely. I think the fans are, this is going to be, quite possibly the biggest moment in UAB football history, if not the greatest. So, obviously they came back, from a 2-year hiatus after the program was shut down. They've won 3 straight division titles, 2 of the last 3 conference championships in Conference USA. So it's a very, proud program at this point in just such a short amount of time. And, and it's going to be a very hyped up crowd. I checked this morning. Very few seats are left. If those get sold, you might even have a little bit of standing room, tickets there. So it's going to be a very electric atmosphere. Obviously Liberty's coming off a loss, so they're going to be very focused. They're going to be wanting to get a game, especially against a team opening a new stadium. But it's just such a big moment for UAB. But I also think this team, the way it's coached, will not be, distracted by everything going on, all the celebrations and everything like that. So it's going to be really interesting. And like you said, they have not played a home game yet. They are the only team in FBS not to have played a home game yet at this point. So it's going to be, just that much more intense, being the first home game of the season.
And as we go into it, Syracuse, who had a lot of success getting to Malik Willis. You talked about, the 4-2 approach to the defense, the hands in the ground. How important, and probably the biggest key of the game, will be stopping Malik Willis, who's appeared to be the offense for Liberty, is the key to make everything go. He's a dynamic playmaker and everything that comes with it. But Syracuse had success getting to Willis in this game. So what do you think you can take from the Syracuse game that will give Liberty problems that UAB proposes similarly?
I think UAB will just have to really stick with who they are. They're going to bring pressure off the edge. They love doing that. They, their calling card is affecting the quarterback. And if they can do that, get behind the line of scrimmage, affect them, it doesn't matter if they really sack them or not, but if they get back behind there and start affecting them, the way he passes, maybe make him run a little bit earlier before he wants to, maybe funnel them into another rush. A lot of different things they can do defensively to, contain him or even, stop him. Because as we saw last week, Syracuse was able to get some good pressure on him and do some things to him. But Malik Willis was still able to get out there and make plays, as we saw last week. So, I mean, it's more about containing him and limiting the damage that he can do. And I think the UAB defense has that capability just from their pass rush capability. They've got two middle linebackers that are, side to side. And their secondary is just it's filthy deep. I mean, it's multiple starters, guys who have had multiple starts all over the board, and and there's only like 5 or 6 guys that can be on the field at one time. So I mean, it's a very deep secondary. So if they can get that rush in there and they can affect that quarterback, then that secondary can kind of take care of the rest.
Moving the other side of the ball, Liberty poses a really good defense. I mean, defensively against Syracuse, they looked, pretty well. Syracuse had some success running the football, but starting with the quarterback issue, obviously, started last year. Dylan Hopkins has stepped in for Tyler Johnson. What is the quarterback situation heading into this game? And do you think, obviously, the coaching staff probably has faith in both guys to execute, but do you think you would expect if Johnson's healthy, he'd be out there?
It's a good question. Justin has been a guy they have loved in this program. He's a leader in this program. Unfortunately, he has had injury concerns. He has not played a full season and will not have played a full season in his career since he missed last week's game at Tulane, did not travel with the team. So it's it's always been an injury concern with him. His leadership can never be questioned. But with all these injuries over the years, it's taken a toll a bit on his body, I think. So I think if it came down, if he was healthy, I think they might stick with Hopkins right now, just as well as he has been playing. Hopkins had a year off last year, had a ankle injury, but in 2019, he started 5 games in place of Johnston. Roston Lucero came in last year, started 5 games for Johnston when he was injured. So as of right now, you're probably going to be looking at Hopkins getting the start and Lucero being the backup. And, if an emergency comes up, Johnston might be able to play, but we'll see today in practice if he's out there, taking any reps or anything like that. But as of right now, it's going to be Hopkins going forward.
Do you expect maybe some ball control for UAB? Obviously, they have a solid running game, averaging 160 yards rushing. Obviously, you might want a little bit more in the college game from that, but do you expect time of possession? Obviously, that's something Syracuse was able to do. Kind of keep the time of possession game close and keep the ball away from from Malik Willis. Do you expect more of a ball control kind of game from UAB?
That's kind of what they like to do a lot of the times. Now, this year they've been able to evolve their passing game more. They've got a great tight end who's just like a gazelle out there. He's tall, he's lanky, he's fast. They can get him in different spots. So you also got Hayden Pittman, the other tight end. He's got a 29-game reception streak going on. They got a young core of receivers, so they're still kind of finding their way, but they've got some talent. But just last week at Tulane, I'm trying to look at here. They've got they had a lot of drives that took a lot of time off the clock. So, they have the ability to kind of chew that clock, and ground it out and, really control the time of possession, keep offenses off the field. And if they can do that, and they have 2 capable running backs, Jermaine Brown Jr., Dwayne McBride, as well as you got Lucius Stanley and Larry Wooden, who's kind of added some depth in there. Lucius Stanley has really provided a spark at different times this year. But you're looking at Jermaine Brown, Dwayne McBride. They can run behind this offensive line. They're, a lot of guys that returned last year, taking advantage of that COVID year. So all 5 starters returned. They got another guy who's, started at least a season's worth of games. He can come in as that 6th man. He actually did last week, a few plays for Sydney Wells. He went out. Jacoby Jones comes in, plays right tackle, doesn't miss a beat. So, they've got depth in the offensive line. So, like you said, they really do need to, take a play from Syracuse book and just really, pound the ball, really take, control of the time of possession and just really impose their will down the field. Because if they can do that, that keeps Malik Willis on the sideline and cold.
So, what challenge does Liberty possess that it probably will be the hardest for UAB to stop? Is it just Malik Willis just going out there and saying I'm better than everyone on this field? I'm gonna make a play.
Obviously, that's going to be a concern every single play, just with the type of athlete that Malik Willis is, just his ability to make plays. But something I found interesting is just maybe the running back position. Actually, you got three guys that are, really capable of toting the rock for those guys. Just looking at some names last night, I was looking at the top three guys rushing for him besides Malik Willis. So I think that's something they need to keep an eye on because, you got three separate backs, maybe three different styles that can kind of throw you off. So that's something they need to be attention of, and besides just Malik Willis, because if they devote too much attention to him, then someone else, could break free and, make a play for this team.
Yeah, they have four guys, including Willis, over 100 yards so far this season in rushing, and that kind of had the most success against Syracuse was the rushing attack for the Flames. All right, Evan, thank you so much again for joining me this week. Let's go into it. So, rare spot for the Flames, being the underdog in this one, -1.5. The Blazers are favored. What do you expect from this game? Do you think just the emotions are going to be too much for the Flames and UAB is able to get this done? And 50 is the over-under, which I think personally is a little low given the power of these both offenses. But I could also see, as we mentioned, time of possession being the issue and slowing down.
I'd probably, just first thought, I'd probably take an under on that. I'd probably take UAB with the points, just right off the top of my head. But I'd also think UAB probably pulls this out, maybe about a touchdown or so. They're a really good defensive team. They're going to have their own crowd behind them for the first time. That's going to be an almost, if it's not, almost full, it's going to be a sellout, if anything. So it's going to be a really large crowd. It's going to be a really loud crowd. There's going to be a lot of celebration going on. So, that's going to be something that Liberty's going to have to, really be challenged by, as well as just the strength of UAB's defense. And as we've seen the past, like we said, the past few weeks, Liberty's defense has also stepped up. So I think it might be, it could end up being a slugfest more than a, shootout, I think.
Well, Evan, I want to thank you so much for joining me. And for some Flames fans that want to learn more about the opposing side, or also we have Alabama Ole Miss across the Virginia Talk Radio Network this weekend. You and the folks at AL.com, where can they get more content from you guys?
Well, you can go to AL.com. As far as UAB, just go /UAB, add it on to AL.com. If you're looking for some Alabama stuff, AL.com /Alabama football. /Alabama. They'll give you just, all kinds of Alabama sports, as well as Auburn sports, South Alabama. We've got 5 FBS teams in this state. So, a lot of football, going around. So, just check it out, AL.com. We got, drop down menus. You can find everything you need. You can also follow me on Twitter at Dudley Durot AL, Rot as in WRITE.
Well, Evan, thank you so much again for taking some time out and joining me this week, and have fun covering the game on Saturday night.
Thanks so much. Appreciate you having me.
Thank you so much for listening to this special edition of the Fast Lane. As always, you can connect with us, Fast Lane, Ed Lane, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and connect with me at Trey Lyle, VT, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.